Welcome back to In My Humble Opinion. This is Charles Lewis and Axilia Robinson. And today we have a guest with us who's a local. He's a homeboy. We have Dr. Jesse Turner with us. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right, Charles. Thanks for having me out here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm sure that some of our listening audience is familiar with you. But if you wouldn't mind, sir, if you could just kind of give us a brief background on who you are as a man, and for our listening audience, some of the young people that are listening, a little general overview of your experience, growing up here locally, and then to the position that you are in now as part of our education system.
All right, Charles. Yeah, man. Well, I'm from Charlottesville. I grew up right smack dab in the middle of town, man, right on Anderson Street. Product of Charlottesville City Schools. I graduated high school in 1989, and when I left high school, I got my first degree from Virginia Union University, which is in Richmond, historically black college. Was there for 4 years, man, and then I came back. I was very fortunate because when I came back, some of the people who were actually teachers and principals in the school division when I was a student, they were still there. People like Kenny Leatherwood, W.T. Lewis. These men actually helped bring me in to the fold, and got a job in the city, and was rolling from there in terms of my career. Probably worked for about a year and a half, and then I had an opportunity to work on my master's at the University of Virginia, so I did that part-time, man, and for about 3 years. And in 1998, I got my master's in administration supervision, and started about a couple of months later, I guess. Got my first job, man. I got my first admin job, but I actually had to move away, so I was in Front Royal. And I stayed away for a couple of years, came back to the area, started working in Greene County. I was an assistant principal at the middle school in Greene County.
Okay, I don't think I was aware of that.
Yeah, I was there for 2 years, man. It was a great job, great experience. The children were awesome. I'm trying to think of the year at that point. It was probably something like maybe 2001.
Okay. I was going to ask you about that because you may have crossed paths with Miss Maxell.
Right, that's right. Because you from Greene County. Yeah, man. I was there for a couple of years. Then I got into Albemarle County Schools, and that's where I've been since about 2003. I was in Greene County for about 2 years, and then got picked up by Albemarle County Public Schools, and I've been there since about '03. So, and I went back to school to work on my doctorate. I think maybe 2006, and 2010 I finished. And now, I mean, fast forward, I'm in my 5th year as an educator at Monticello High School. This is my 4th year as the principal.
Okay.
So that's kind of me, from the beginning right up to now. So I guess childhood to now.
Right.
Yeah.
We actually have a segment on this show called Rep Your School. Okay. We want to give everybody the opportunity to say when your teachers have done something good, when your kids have done something good, just give them acknowledge when it's due.
Right, absolutely.
Because we need that, to be honest with you. It's nice to be told you've done a good job.
Yeah.
So what do you have going on over at Monticello? Tell us about, the good things you got going on there.
Well, I like to say that I have over a 94% graduation rate.
Okay.
Twice during my tenure as the principal, all of my black students who were 12th graders graduated. I didn't lose one black child to dropping out.
Okay, that's good.
At least twice during my time there, which is a pretty big deal.
That's excellent.
So we're excited about that. I'm also just excited about the desire to do things differently. The staff has they've embraced me. They walk with me. They believe in me, and we've been able to do some pretty neat things. A few years ago, we just really recognized, my librarian just recognized the fact that, we just weren't getting a lot of children wanting to be in the library. And I think that's been a kind of a nationwide type issue. And she started brainstorming and came up with an idea to create different kind of spaces in the media center that would make it more appealing. So some maker spaces, some other non-traditional spaces, like we have a music studio, and all of a sudden, I mean, we went from maybe 50 students a month coming in the library to about 30,000.
Oh, wow.
I mean, visits. We've won a major award. It was last year. But all those things are possible because, as a school, we just sort of believe that let's not always do what's always been done.
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you, and I'm going to ask this in a way not to get you in trouble, being that you are the principal. But as far as those changes and things that need to be done, let me ask you, as a community, though, say as parents, because all of us in this room, have kids who are in local public schools. So our listening audience, and we believe that our demographic is actually an age range that comprises of us here in this room, actually. So, what would be some advice as a principal, that things you would like to see more from the community or from the parents?
Wow, and I know this is difficult, and it may seem like I'm just saying something that's harder for people to do than what I make it sound like. But parents, or people who are in that role, they need to be involved with the school. And I don't mean they got to be there selling cupcakes, but you have to know what's going on with your children.
Absolutely.
And that inspires them to go a little further too, if they see their parent is involved, somebody else at home cares. And
absolutely, you have to, and I'm going to stick mostly with the high school age child, because that's where I am now. I've worked at every level, but the majority of my career, and I got about 22 years, but the majority of my career has been as a high school educator. So when I talk about being involved, what does that look like? This is what it looks like. It looks like parents must communicate with school counselors. They need to find out
parent-teacher conferences. If
their child's interested in college, you must call and talk with the school counselor.
I'm gonna interrupt you there, because some parents are afraid to do that.
Right.
So give us some advice on that, because the kid may want to go to school, but realistically, somebody at home may be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to fill that form out. And the kid's left to kind of fend for themselves. But what would be your recommendation to whomever, auntie at home, mom at home, dad at home? What would you recommend to the person who may need a little push to get out the door and find out what's going on with their kid?
Well, I think the first thing is for that parent who is afraid, and that's a reality.
Yes, sir.
There really are people who are afraid to come into the building. I would say, even if you have to bring someone with you, bring a person that you trust, because sometimes it's about trust. They don't trust the school. Or if need be, it doesn't have to be a huge meeting, just the parent and the counselor. Not this mega event, but just the parent and the counselor, so you can have your questions answered.
Right.
Because if not, trying to figure out the financial aid form and things of that nature, that can be daunting to parents if that's not the work that they do. So if you're sitting at home and you're not asking the right people those questions, then you're never going to get those answers.
No, yeah, we definitely appreciate you being here, and love this type of conversation.
Yeah.
And like I would just ask you if there were any closing tidbits or information that you may have for a young man that you may see, say, walking down the street here in Charlottesville, that may remind you of yourself, and they may have aspirations of being an administrator, or they may want to make changes within school systems. Like, what would be, or what's something that maybe drove you, or advice that you would lend?
Growing up at a time in Charlottesville, Charles, this place has a pretty turbulent history in terms of race relations, and I started school in 1976, and where I lived, I only lived about 3 blocks away from an elementary school, but I was bused way across town to go to another school, and the children, which were all black children, where I lived, we were all bused. That was basically so white children could be in an integrated school, right? Tough situation.
Understandably.
So I think what I would want young people to think about is that it's imperative that you always believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Don't ever let another person define who you are or what you can become.
Right.
Because I think that when I look back over my life, I think if I had chosen to think about how tough it was at times and stop believing in myself, then I probably would have been a failure. So I believe that every child has an opportunity, but it starts with believing in yourself.
Right.
You can never stop believing in yourself. If there are enough people out here that'll put you down and count you out, don't you count your own self out.
That's right. That's right.
It's good stuff.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time here. Good
Absolutely.
conversation. We'll have you back. Good representation of the school, and we thank you, for the work that you've done for your city, the work you've done for your school. You're listening to In My Humble Opinion on WVAI Radio, 101.3 Jams, Charlottesville's new station for hip hop and R&B.